Today we're going to take a look at a new toy that I've bought, which is the Ultimate Ears Megablast Bluetooth speaker. Now there's loads of Bluetooth speakers on the market, but I went for this one in particular because I've got a slightly unusual and superfluous use case for this. I want a Bluetooth speaker I can use in the shower. Now of course that's completely over the top, I don't really need it, but it's something I've wanted for quite a while. Currently I use one, but I put it outside the shower because it's not waterproof, and then if I want to control the music with my phone, I've got to get out of the shower, control my phone where it then gets wet and then it doesn't work properly because the screen's wet. It's just a pain. So this one seemed like the perfect option for a Bluetooth speaker to use in the shower, as well as being a good Bluetooth speaker in general. So yeah, this is Megablast from Ultimate Ears, who are a division of Logitech. And the reason I went for this one in particular is because it's IP67 rated, so it can work underwater. You can have it underwater, under about a metre of water for up to 30 minutes, and that's absolutely fine. So in a shower that's going to be absolutely perfect with just water falling on top of it. But on top of the IP rating that a lot of the Ultimate Ear speakers have, this one also has support for Amazon's voice assistant. I'm going to be saying the voice assistant's name quite a lot in this video, so if you've got one in the room with you, it's probably worth muting it so I don't set it off. So I'll give you a second to do that before I start saying the name. But yeah, this has the Amazon voice assistant built in, so I can give it commands to control it with my voice. I don't have to use my phone. I've looked at reviews of this device from before, and they were okay, but they weren't amazing. A lot of people complained about the Alexa support and said it didn't work that well and didn't support a lot of features. However, all those reviews I'm seeing were from when it came out last year. It's now a year later, and there's been a lot of updates to this that have pushed a lot of new features. For example, you can see down here it lists all the services it offers, including Amazon Music, Spotify, TuneIn, Deezer, Philips Hue, and Audible, and probably more than that. Most of the other reviews from when it just came out complained that it didn't support Spotify because it didn't at launch, and for me that would be a total deal breaker. But now they've launched Spotify support, so it actually works okay. The price has also come down a lot from when it was initially launched. At launch, it was about £270, which is a lot of money for a Bluetooth speaker. However, they're now coming on sale, so when I picked this one up, which is the black one, I got this on Amazon for £152, which is a pretty good deal. And if I'd gone for the blue colour, that's only £137 at the moment. There's also a smaller version called the UE Blast. That's just a little bit smaller, and in that you've got slightly lower battery life, you get 12 hours instead of 16 on this one, and you get a slightly lower frequency response. It's definitely a lot more portable. This thing is going to be pretty big. But yeah, that's your two options. You can get the cheaper, smaller one with potentially not as good sound quality and lower battery life, or you can get this one with better sound quality and better battery life, but it is a much heavier, bigger item. But yeah, I'm really just try this out and give a review of how it works in 2019, rather than 2018 when it was launched, and lots of people said there was issues with Alexa, so we'll see how it works now. So yeah, we'll take a look at the box. So that's it there, you've got the Bluetooth speaker on the front, loads of sort of Alexa commands down the side. And interestingly, these services are actually a sticker stuck on the box, so these have obviously been changed fairly recently, and they've stuck stickers over the boxes to change them to update it to newer services. Various features around the back, again with Spotify stuck on as a sticker because that's a new feature. And yeah, lots of pictures of it. Let's get in, let's see what it's like. So yeah, I've heard Ultimate Ear speakers before, and they've genuinely sounded pretty good. So I'm interested to see how this sounds. Ultimate Ears have a lot of different models, but this is the Blast and the Megablast are the only ones with Alexa and Wi-Fi support. All the other ones are just standard Bluetooth speakers, so be interested to see how well this works. So let's take a look at it. So I'll make the unboxing part quite quick, and then I'll go away, set it up and try it out, and then come back with my impressions. So we've got a very crazy design box. See what the product's like inside. Let's open this up. So there we go, so that's the Bluetooth speaker itself, which is actually huge. I was actually expecting it to be smaller because I didn't expect it to be the actual size of the box, but yep, that's it there. It is massive and it's quite heavy, but it's fine. I don't plan on moving around with this a lot. I might, take it on holiday with me or something like that, or if I'm going out somewhere to, I might take it, but I'm not going to carry it around a lot, so I'm not too worried about the big size. Let's get some accessories we'll take a quick look at. So you get a manual, a USB cable for it, just standard micro USB to charge it, and then you get a power supply. So it's quite cool, it's one of those sort of modular travel ones, so you can either have an EU plug in there, or you get this UK one which quite amusingly folds out so they can fit it in the packaging. So that fold out like that, clip on there, like that, And there's your UK wall charger. So now let's take a look at the speaker itself. So at the top you've got this button here that's for powering it on and off. Another button here, I think that's for like Bluetooth pairing. And in the front you've got a big volume plus and minus button. And that's all you've really got on the device. There's no buttons for like skipping to the back and next track. You'd have to do all that with Alexa. But that's fine for me. You then just got this big sort of speaker grill around the outside. Sort of rubbery finish, feels really robust. You'll see we've got this little hook here, so you can flip that up and either have like a lanyard or a strap attached to it, or hang it on something. And then here, this corner flips up and reveals a charging port. Now this is one thing that I've seen with this that's maybe a bit of an issue, is that it's sort of recessed down in there. So you'll be able to fit the charging cable it comes with okay. That's a sort of appropriately square shape that will fit down in there. But if you've got some micro USB cables that are a bit wider, the plug's a bit wider, you might struggle to get it in there. The only other issue with it being on the bottom is that if you want to use it as a voice assistant and have it standing up, you can't really plug it in because the charging cable's on the bottom. They've taken a leaf out of Apple's design book for the Magic Mouse by putting the charging port on the bottom, so that's a bit annoying. They do, however, sell a charging dock for this, so what you do with that is this little clip here unscrews. The charging dock then comes with a different clip you then screw in there, and that gives you like a connector on the bottom. You can then plug USB into a docking station, put the new bottom piece on, lay it on the docking station, and that'll power it. So if you're wanting to use this as an always-on voice assistant, you would definitely need to get one of those. For me, I didn't bother because I'm not going to use it as that. I'm going to use it purely as a Bluetooth speaker. So yeah, that's the outside of the product. What I'll now do is I'll go away and get it set up, test it out, and I'll come back with my impressions. Okay, so now back after a few weeks, and I've been using this quite extensively, so now I can come back and give my impressions on it. Now, I'm not going to do the typical YouTuber thing of sitting in front of the camera, listening to it for the first time, and making ridiculous facial expressions about how this is the best thing I've ever heard and how it's blown my mind. It's not that. It sounds decent. It's not insane. It's not the most mind-blowing speaker in the world like other people seem to make it out to be. It just sounds decent for a Bluetooth speaker. But yeah, the sound quality is pretty good. What I have found is it's very bass heavy, like a lot of Bluetooth speakers are. So you can use the app and adjust the equalization, and that was definitely very helpful. Especially trying to use it in the shower, where it's in quite an enclosed area with hard tiled walls. I really did need to play about with the equalizer quite a bit to get it to sound how I wanted it. The only other note I've sort of found on the sound quality is where they talk about 360 sound as one of the features. I would sort of dispute that a little bit. You've got this big grille around the whole side of it, but the speakers are only on one side here and then on the other side. If you're far enough away from it, you do get a pretty 360 degree sound, but if it's sitting next to you, say on a couch or on like a coffee table next to you, if you've got one of these speakers like this side facing towards you, it sounds a lot better than say having the buttons facing towards you, or having the total opposite side from the buttons facing towards you. If you don't have a speaker facing towards you, it sounds very bassy and you don't get as much of the highs. If you turn it side on, you get a lot more of the highs. So yeah, the 360 sound isn't maybe super accurate, but it doesn't sound bad. It sounds pretty decent once you play with equalizers. So we can turn it on here, and we'll talk about how well it works. So that's turning on, takes a few minutes to start up. Now, the Bluetooth speaker functionality works just as you'd expect. It's just like any other Bluetooth speaker, and it works really well. Now, as for the Alexa functionality that I was talking about, which is the main reason I bought this, it's a bit hit or miss. I absolutely would not buy this as a primary Alexa device for home automation. It's pretty flaky and it's really bad at picking up the wake word. What I find is if I'm trying to trigger it by saying Alexa, it quite often doesn't pick it up. For example, it's not picking it up when I'm saying it here. You have to very carefully say it, and it's a little bit fiddly. There is, however, a button you can hit here that will automatically trigger Alexa, so you can do that if you need to. Compared to like something like an Amazon Echo device...
Sorry, I don't see that at trigger.
Yeah, just listen to me. Compared to something like an Amazon Echo, it's not as good at picking up from as far away. You do need to be quite close to it, and it's not as fast. It's a bit slower in terms of responding to things. But the Alexa functionality does work okay for controlling it, in my context, like controlling it in a shower. But if I'm sitting next to the device, I would much rather be using my phone to control it. The main issue I've found really is with Spotify. Now, I've not used an Alexa device apart from this that much, so I'm not overly familiar with how well Spotify works. But what I keep finding is it's really bad at like searching for things. So I'll say the name of a song and it won't pick up the artist name correctly, or if I just say play and then a very popular song name, Sometimes it'll do it fine, sometimes it'll pick a random remix or cover version, not play the proper version, which can be really annoying. Other things I've found, if I want to say, tell it to play a certain remix of a song, if I say the word remix in the title, it will do a different search lookup and try and look for a remix album, and then it fails. Where if you sort of say everything in the title of the remix apart from saying the word remix, it tends to work fine. It's just a little bit flaky. So I'm guessing that's more of an issue with Alexa or Spotify in general rather than this device. So you probably have the same issue with any other device, but it's worth bearing in mind. There was definitely a few times I found it pretty frustrating shouting at it, just trying to get it to pick up a song, and it just wasn't quite working. The only other issue I've really found with just controlling over Alexa is it can just be a little bit weird. One thing I've found, if I say, Alexa, play this song name on Spotify, sometimes when I say the word play, it stops listening to me and starts playing the song again. So if it's playing a song and I say, Alexa, play something on Spotify, it will hear me say the word play and just completely stop listening to me and start playing what it was already playing, and that results in a lot of shouting at it. So yeah, it's a little bit weird, but I'd say that's more of an Alexa thing rather than an issue with this device. Now, the main complaint I've really found with this device, with its Alexa integration, is it feels very much bolted onto the side of it, rather than an inherent sort of feature of it. So what I mean by this is it can't really do much with the speaker itself. You can play music from things like Spotify, Amazon Music, Deezer, TuneIn Radio, all that sort of stuff, and you can control the volume, although the volume control is not great because it only goes 1 to 10, and it's quite big steps, so you can end up with a level where controlling the volume over Alexa, you can only have it too quiet or too loud and you have to use the buttons to get it into the right level. What I find a bit more annoying than that is that it doesn't really integrate with any other features of the device. For example, I can't use Alexa to turn the device off. I can't use Alexa to check the battery level, so I have to use the phone app to check that. There's no way to ask it its battery level, which is a bit of a lacking feature. You can't use Alexa to control the equalizer, again you have to use the app for that. And the most annoying one I've found is that when you're using Alexa, you cannot use that to go back and next with tracks that are playing over Bluetooth. You can only use that for track playing from a streaming service running on Alexa. So this means if I'm playing Spotify or something through the device using Spotify Connect, then I can say, Alexa, next, and it'll skip to the next track. On the other hand, if I'm playing a song on my phone over Bluetooth, with it connected over Bluetooth, I can't say, Alexa, next to this, to skip to the next track on the Bluetooth device. And since there's no physical back and next button on this, like most other Bluetooth speakers have, if I'm playing a track just from my phone, there's no way to control the phone from this, which is a pretty big oversight. But for what I'm doing having it in the shower, the Alexa functionality is really handy to have, and it's much better than just having to get out of the shower and trying to use my phone to change the track. So I do like it, it's just a little bit lacking, and it's not as powerful as a fully featured Amazon Echo device. So what we'll do is we'll try out the sound quality from it. Obviously there's a limit to what you'll be able to hear on YouTube, but I'll try and record a bit and see what you can hear. Now, I won't be able to do it over Alexa because I'd have to use Spotify, and then that's all copyrighted music, so I'll play some copyright-free music from my phone. So now I won't be able to use Alexa to play music on video, just because all the music it would be playing would be from Spotify and therefore be copyrighted. So what I'll do is I'll demonstrate some other Alexa features just to show that it works, and then I'll play some copyright-free music from my phone over Bluetooth. So just try Alexa out. Alexa, what's the weather like today?
In Edinburgh, there's a flood alert in effect. The current weather is 16 degrees Celsius with showers. Tonight, you can expect thunderstorms, with a low of 14 degrees.
So there you go, that's Alexa doing basic functionality, and it seems to work quite well. So there you go, that's Alexa working, and it does seem to work okay, but it's not as good as an Echo device. The microphones just aren't as wide range, and it's a little bit flakier at picking up the wake word, but it does work. Additionally, when I've been using this in the shower with water running, it still seems reasonably okay at picking up my voice. When I'm doing it, I am very close to it, and I am sort of leaning over and talking to it very closely, but it can pick my voice up and use it to control tracks. So the voice pickup is okay if you're using it as a Bluetooth speaker and just talking to it very closely, but it's not the sort of thing you'd be able to leave in the corner of a room and shout across the room to get it to control stuff. It's not really that sort of device. Okay, so I'll now play some music from the YouTube audio library over this at a fairly sensible but reasonably loud volume level, and hopefully I'll be able to hear a bit of the sound quality. Now obviously it depends on your speakers and the quality of my microphone and all that sort of stuff, but it might give you a rough idea. And what I'll do is I'll try and demonstrate my things about how the angle of the speaker affects it. So I'll start it off playing it like this, which is how you're almost meant to have it. But I'll turn it sideways 90 degrees, and you might be able to make out what I was saying about it sounding a little bit better when the speaker's facing directly towards you. I don't know how well it'll come across on my recording, but we'll see how that sounds. So turn it that way there, and start the music off. So there you go, that's the sound quality of it. And as I said, it sounds decent. It doesn't blow me away at all, but it sounds good for a Bluetooth speaker. The main thing I've noticed, and it's a very common thing across all Bluetooth speakers I've really heard, is they very much go for high bass because that's what everyone thinks is really powerful and it sounds really powerful. But then they always sort of lack the highs a little bit. Obviously I'm comparing this to a much higher end set of speakers that I normally use, but the highs on this just aren't as crisp and aren't as noticeable. It's on a more sort of hi-fi or flat response curve speaker. So that's a bit of a shame, but the sound quality is still really good, and for what you're going to be using this for, in the case of me using it in the shower, or having it like by the pool or out in a park, it's going to be absolutely fine. I wouldn't be using this as my primary device for listening to music, but it does still sound pretty good. So now as a sensible test, I've got it set up in the shower. So this is where I normally have it. It sits on this shelf here, which is directly below the shower head, so it does get a lot of water on it. So start some music playing off and it'll start soaking it. How's it running? We'll try and turn the water on and see what happens. There you go. As we get soaked. And this is like 8 litres a minute of water or something. Put more powerful setting on. There you go. And that's totally happy with that. Now you might notice the audio quality isn't as good when it's getting soaked. Turn the water off there, make it quieter. But one thing I've noticed is that when it's actually getting wet, the audio quality gets a bit more muffled because water starts getting into the grills. But then after a little while the water drips out and gets blasted out by the air pressure from the speaker and it goes back to sounding normal again. So when you're spraying water directly on it, the audio quality does get a bit more muffled, but it does recover quite quickly. And as you can see, it survived that test perfectly. So now let's do a bit of a more extreme test because it is technically submergible in water. So I've got a bath here. It's not that deep, but it's got a decent amount of water in it. So what we'll do is start playing it and then chuck it underwater and see how well it sort of recovers. That's it playing again. And in theory, we can just dump this under the water and it'll survive. Just making sure the bottom's sealed up. There you go. That's it. Sitting totally underwater. That's quite amusing. I can feel the bass, but all the highs, but you can't really hear it obviously underwater. But the whole floor is now shaking. I think the bass is sort of transferring through the water. Probably doesn't come across on camera, but the bass is like really high now. It's in the water, and it does seem to float a little bit. I wouldn't trust this to like not sink to the bottom of the sea, but it's sort of floating in the bath, but it is touching the bottom. Now if we take it out again, it's fine. You'll be able to hear there it is a bit muffled sounding, but it slowly recovers and now sounds fine again. So yeah, I'm not sure how that comes across on camera, but yeah, when it's underwater, and when you pull it out it sounds really muffled at first, but once it dries out it does recover quite quickly. So yeah, it's definitely submergible. That definitely works. This is one tough device. Well, that was stupid. I'm completely drenched myself now. Why did I do that? Just like poured water all over the floor. Well done, me. So there you go. That's my review of the Megablast from Ultimateers. And it's a pretty neat device depending on what you're using it for. If you're wanting something to use as as like an Amazon Alexa device as your primary device, don't do it. This is not worth that. The Alexa support isn't that good. However, if you're looking for a Bluetooth speaker, this is a good option, albeit a bit expensive. But if you're looking for a Bluetooth speaker with Alexa that you can use to control it where you can't get to a phone, such as when I'm in, like my use case when I'm in the shower, it is good for that. The sound quality is decent, and it is incredibly durable. The waterproofness is really good. I've had this in the shower every day for probably about a month. It's been sitting there, and I've not had a single problem with it. It's been getting soaked every day and then drying out naturally throughout the day, and it's handled that absolutely perfectly. So it's incredibly durable. It feels really well made. So yeah, it's a good device. Just don't expect the Alexa support to be as good as an official Amazon Echo. It works, but it's not as good as a proper device. So yeah, thanks for watching.